The scene I want to talk about today is from a French film, La Haine, 1995, directed by Matthew Kassovitz. In this scene, we see the character Vince get ready for the day and talk to himself in the mirror. The first thing we notice is that the film is in black and white. I believe this stylistic choice is very deliberate in talking about the movie's themes, about police brutality, as well as how the characters see the world. They see it as black and white, them versus the police, so on and so forth with those ideals. But let's start off with watching through the scene.
C'est à moi que tu parles. C'est à moi que tu parles. C'est à moi que tu parles, enculé, c'est à moi que tu parles. Hein? Ça, c'est à moi que tu parles, là? Oh, c'est à moi que tu parles. Les mecs, c'est à moi qui parle, son cul. C'est à moi qui parle, putain. C'est à moi que tu parles comme ça, mec.
Alright, now that we've seen the scene, I want to break it down in a couple spots. The first thing that perplexed me is how they got this shot. So, I realized on a few rewatches that it's actually two actors here. We have the main actor for Vince in the fake mirror, and we have a stunt double standing in front of the camera here. If we slow it down, you can see the subtle differences in their movements. It's very close, but you'll see how the man in the mirror, our main character Vince, in the mirror puts his hand down while our stunt double here takes it down later. This is the first thing that tipped me off about how the scene was shot. Once you realize this, you understand that the mirror is actually fake, and so when the stunt double here leans down, the camera can continue to push forward into our fake mirror here. Now it's just a head-on shot of Vince. But this is fantastic because it's almost like a point of view of Vince, like how he sees himself, because we are seeing what he sees. We are looking directly into the mirror. He's obviously a film fan or a fan of the film Taxi Driver as he's recreating the scene here. He's speaking in French, but of course, he's saying, "You talking to me?"
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Psyching himself up. This has to do with what's going on in the movie. He's checking his appearance in the mirror here.
C'est à moi que tu parles, là? Oh, c'est à moi que tu
He's
parles.
hyping himself up and so on.
C'est à moi.
Now listen here. As this scene, or as it builds up to the big moment of the scene, he's looked at himself. Also note that the scene has no music. It's just the background noise and so on. I believe this also helps draw in to the reality of the character. We are almost in his shoes here, right? We are seeing what he sees in the mirror. We're hearing the background noises, his family in the background having breakfast, the city and so on in the background. But first thing to point out here, everything kind of becomes silent as we see Vince make the sound for the gun and pull his finger. There's a real gunshot sound, and then the camera goes white. What I didn't notice at first, however, is if you're listening to the sounds in the background, you hear the bubbling sound of like the drain, and it perfectly leads up to this sound effect. I'm going to pull it back just a hair here, and you can listen closely here. Right here. But that was another thing I noted about this scene. Overall, I think this scene does a really great job. It's very early in the film. It helps us get an idea of how Vince sees himself. It shows us how Vince sees himself. We are quite literally in his place, seeing him in the mirror as he sees himself. And it tells a lot about the character. I think it's very well shot. This is one of my favorite films. and this scene has always stood out to me as just being very impressive, as well as a fun tribute to Taxi Driver.